I think I was 16 or 17, and I started to make paintings.
Why?
What?
Why? What inspired you?
Partly, I'm not really sure directly. I think it probably was because I admired my father's talent. That probably was the inspiration, yeah. And I was beginning to notice painting. I mean, I admired European painting, modern painting. Van Gogh, I loved Van Gogh's painting. And I quickly assimilated abstract expressionist painting.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also was aware of Film Culture magazine. I had seen issues of Film Culture magazine. And I met a woman who was later to become one of the 3 major collectors of Fluxus, and her name is Jean Brown. I knew her son, and I was invited to come over and meet her. And when I walked into their house, I saw Franz Klein on the wall, and I knew what that was. And it was a color Klein. And I had never seen a colored Klein, but I knew it was a Franz Klein painting. So I was impressed, you know. And actually there was only one meeting. Oh no, there were 2 meetings. She asked me to bring my painting over. So I brought her a painting. And she just saw that I was making paintings as a kid and encouraged me to do that. I think that I mostly had an affinity to abstract expressionist painting. That was a quick study for me. I got it. Yeah. And European films. I remember seeing The Virgin Spring, and that was mysterious and very interesting. And I also started smoking pot around that time. So my intuition was in bloom, so to speak.
Do you remember any other key early film viewing experiences?
Yes. I remember going to New York with a friend of mine from Holyoke, Mass., Cy Hurley, who was a writer, and we saw Vinyl by Andy Warhol. And Cy was completely disgusted with this thing, but I thought it was very interesting. Wow, this was really cool. I decided to go to Los Angeles. Basically, I was inspired to do that because when I was working as a waiter in a bar in the Annex on Avenue B one night, this blonde came in and stopped the bar. She was just so killer great looking that, you know, people, wow. And she sat at a table and I was the waiter at her table. And she was an actress. She has a acting school now in the Valley. Her name is Bobby Shaw. And so I basically got evicted from my loft at 99 2nd Avenue. And I put all of Yoko's stuff in storage in the East Village and basically got a drive-away car and drove out to LA. She said, don't come. Don't go. But I'm coming. So.
That's because she was working with Buster Crabbe.
Well, she had been in a couple of Corman films, these beach blanket films, with Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon and Buster Keaton. And anyway, I drove across the country, and after one adventure or another, arrived in LA. She was living in Laurel Canyon near the country store, right in back of the country store. So I kind of moved in. And in about 3 days, she said, look, I want to introduce you to somebody. I said, fine. So we got in her car and drove up to Topanga to the corral. It was on a Sunday. And we went in, and there wasn't hardly anybody there except one table. And there was Wally Berman, Russ Tamblyn, Dean Stockwell, and the drummer from the Spirit. And she just sort of presented me. Wally, this is Jeff Perkins, he just came from New York, blah, 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 etc. So that was the first artist I met. I got a job as a projectionist at the Cinematheque 16 Theater. It was managed by Louis Teague at the time. And David Lebrun was the other projectionist, in fact. And in short time, Louis wanted to leave. It was beneath his dignity to do this work. And the job was of manager, programmer was passed on to me. And this is when I met Peter Mace. And basically the Cinematheque 16 was a kind of locus of experimental film, and certainly the only commercial one in LA. We were getting films from the Filmmakers Co-op in New York, and also the Canyon. I guess it was before it was Canyon, it was something else in Berkeley. Bob Nelson, Ben Van Meter, Bruce Conner, Bruce Bailey. I don't remember having Brackage then. Actually, my first program was a retrospective of Kenneth Anger's work. I had known that Kenneth Anger had retired from filmmaking and published an obituary as a filmmaker in the Village Voice. And so the Filmmakers Co-op announced that a new film was available, which was Invocation of My Demon Brother. So I thought, great, then I'll book a retrospective, and that's what I did.